Hey, everybody, welcome to iConversations. We're delighted to have you joining us, whether you're live here with us or you're watching the replay. We are excited. It is a beautiful day in Australia, and we hope good things are coming your way. We are delighted to say that Leigh Martinuzzi is joining us today. Leigh, welcome to iConversations.
Great to be here again. Thank you, Rob.
Leigh, there will be lots of new people with EXP who haven't met you yet.
Yep.
Or know where you are. Just give us a little bit about your history. Obviously, you're an icon agent with EXP, not your first go with that as well. So tell us where you are, what kind of houses you're selling, and that kind of thing.
A lot of new faces. Yes, thank you. I'm up in Queensland on the Sunshine Coast here. Beautiful day here. We haven't had many of them this year, but we've got two beautiful days in a row. So it's a blessed place to live and work.
I can see Tony and Victoria going.
I really like it up here, and I came up here about 5 years ago. Worked with a boutique agency for a couple of years, and then found the EXP model and never looked back. Yeah, I sell residential homes. Average price at the moment, it's gone up obviously like everywhere, but it's about 890 in my particular niche market for a 4-bedroom home. So you don't get much for your money anymore, but 890,000, that's what I sell. I sell about 40 a year. I was sort of one of those, busy people. I still am, I guess, but wanted to just, make that $1 million mark. But as I look more and more at it, I am favouring, due to some personal life circumstances, I am favouring balance in life, and certainly believe I can still have a high level of success with balance, and doing 40 sales a year and enjoying it as well. So I always
let me stop you for a second, Leigh, because I just want to ask you a question. So you're an icon agent. You're very successful in real estate, whatnot. And just to make this relatable for some people, I've had some conversations in the last week or two where some people are just feeling like it's never going to happen for them. It's hard. It's, they feel like pretenders sometimes and whatnot. Did you ever have those kind of feelings when you were in real estate, when you were first getting started?
I still bloody do. It is hard. It is hard. It's not easy. It's not, everyone would look out externally at real estate agents and go, oh, look, they just make heaps of money from selling properties and living the dream, drinking their lattes and walking around in suits. Yeah, it's not. But once you realize it's not that hard, you have to get in there and you have to do the work. And I think for some people, maybe it's not for them. Yeah, maybe it won't come for them. It's not for everyone, for sure. Just like being a vet nurse or a doctor, I couldn't do that stuff because I'd probably cry at blood.
Yeah.
So you got to find it. And if it doesn't feel right to you, I think like anything in life, over a certain period of time, move on, do something else.
Yeah. If you've given it a crack for a while.
Yeah. So I set myself 6 months,
I want to say
Rob.
This though, Leigh, not to interrupt your thunder. So many people tell me they've given it a crack, but when you actually talk to them and you actually kind of bore down, well, what have you actually done? Not much. I've ordered business cards, and that's about it. You're a flat out prospector and all that kind of stuff. They haven't done those things, so they don't really know they can't do it.
Well, that's right, and that's why I think it's really important, and EXP is a great model for it. Aligning yourself with someone that has a proven track record, and then really learning from them the way they do things. Now, it might not be the best way to do things, or you might have other methods that you could do or learn from someone else, but make sure you do that when you're starting out. I've got a guy who works for me now, great, ambitious young fellow. But I said, don't go out on your own just yet. Stick by me. I'll help you out. And I'll train you up because you're going to need it. Otherwise, you will get to the end of 12 months and you'll go, oh, shit, what? I don't know what to do. I've given it a crack. But if you don't have that training and coaching right next year, and that's why I think the XP model is great, because you can work along the sides of, Bjorn or Chris or Leigh or Rob, and, learn from some of the greats in the industry. So, yeah, that'd be my advice there.
Fantastic. Well, today you're going to be talking to us about your morning routine, how to set that up, because I suppose the old saying is you win the morning, you win the day. So over to you, Leigh.
Yeah, look, this is a little acronym I've come up with, basically, and I'm going to start sharing it more and more now. And it's been something that I've been doing for quite a while. So to give you a bit of a backstory, I came from an executive retail management background. Worked as an area manager in Victoria for Aldi stores, and then set up the very first Masters home improvement stores. You probably remember that Woolworths mob that crashed. So I was the founding member of Masters Home Improvement. And after a period of time, I decided to get out of it. I was a little bit lost in life, Rob. I was like any normal bloke, I guess. You sort of go out there from school or university, which I did. Traveled a bit, got into a job, and I just did what everyone expected you to do. You know, get a job and work and create a family, and that's what I did. But I felt a little bit lacking of meaning in my life, and a lack of purpose. And I started just listening to podcasts actually and motivational stuff, and really got a heck of a lot out of it. You know, I started to change my mindset and be more positive about life. And that's really when it switched for me. And that's when I started this morning routine, and I've developed it really over the last 15 years, probably not quite that long, maybe 10 to 12 years. And I created a podcast called the Hidden Why Podcast. And that's a podcast all about personal development, self-improvement, growth. So that's where I delved into. And I do have a really strong morning routine, and it's not always as good as I'd like it to be. It's not always consistent, but generally it's bloody good. And if I look at me compared to most people, I would say I'm in the top 5% of someone who has a very consistent morning routine. And I don't say that with ego or anything. It's taken that long to grow it there. But I have those days.
It's a practice for you. You practice
it. It's a practice. Yeah. Everyone gets up and you can eat toast every morning because you're in that practice. You can do that with meditation. You can do that with exercise. You can do that with any of these things. So I want to run through that today, and I want to keep it sort of like an open forum, if that's okay, Rob.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to I can dribble along and maybe not make any sense. I'd rather sort of touch on each point, open it to questions. People, you know, bring in your questions, ask me, and then we'll move on to the next point.
Perfect.
Hope you have your pen and your paper, because this is one I reckon you could write on your wall, in your bathroom, beside your bed, wherever it is, and just reflect on it daily to remind yourself to give it a crack. And really give it, you know, they say 21 days, but give it a month. Try this out every morning for a month, and I guarantee you will start seeing signs of positive mindset, which will help your overall emotional balance and also your productivity. And that's what it does for me. So GEM maps. GEM, I like this little acronym. It just makes sense. The GEM, yep. So the G stands for gratitude. The E stands for exercise. The M stands for meditation. Then maps, you've got M for motivation, A for affirmations, P for planning. And then the little S on the end that I've tagged there is just start, you know, just start. And I think that's where a lot of people let themselves go. They do all this and then they don't even start. But this should really help you fire up and start. It certainly did for me this morning. As I got up and went through this process. And I've written this process. It doesn't always have to be in that order, right? It can be in any order you want it to be in, first and foremost. But start with gratitude. This is something that I've probably been more inconsistent with out of all the other things here. And it's just having an attitude of gratitude, right? So it's waking up. So when I wake up in the morning, and I talked about this the other day, is you often get these negative thoughts. And I don't know if anyone was at that AI conference recently. They said 90% of all your thoughts are past thoughts, right? 90%. 85% of those are negative. So what do you think is going to happen when you wake up in the morning? You're probably going to have some negative thoughts rush in, yeah? This gratitude practice, by practicing this every morning consistently, and it's nothing serious, it's nothing big, it's easy to do. By doing it, you will shift your mindset and you'll be able to start to wake up with more positive thoughts rather than negative. And these all link together. Each of these parts all link together and help each other. So gratitude for me, I woke up the other morning and I had these two negative thoughts, and suddenly one negative thought led to another one, led to another one. And I'm sure, hands up, you've probably all been there, right? So having this level of awareness allowed me to go, hang on a second, what am I doing? What am I thinking about? This crap doesn't even exist, you know, means nothing. So I started to think on some positive stuff, what I'm grateful for, you know, how comfortable the bed was, how grateful I was that I have a bed and a roof over my head, how grateful it was my daughters are next door in the room, you know, healthy and happy kids. That's as simple as it needs to be. Really just to think about what you have to be grateful for. And we all have different circumstances. We all have shit going on in our life. But I'm sure we can all think of something in the previous 24 hours that we can be grateful for, or something right in front of us that we can be grateful for. So do that daily and you will change your mindset and you will have a more positive mindset. And that will reflect in everything you do. And there's been plenty of studies on this that show that people with a gratitude mindset seem to be higher performers. They seem to perform better in all aspects of life. So I'm going to open up to questions there for anyone.
Yeah. Does anyone have that gratitude practice? Does anyone, if you have a question, either unmute yourself and chat away, or pop a question into the chat.
So, Leigh, with the maps, what you said for what the P stands for?
Planning. I'll get to that one.
Yeah.
So, any other questions? Sorry.
With gratitude, mate, do you always do it in the morning or do you do it at night as well?
Yeah, great question. You can do it throughout the day, really. I think it's probably a practice whenever you're feeling, you know, especially in real estate, you're going to have those moments where someone doesn't list with you and you go, oh shit, and missed that listing. Rather than just drowning in that negative, think about something positive. Think about something to be grateful for, and it can just shift your mindset in that moment. So, very good question. I think you can do it at any times, and I actually think what I've been trying to do anyway, at night when I'm lying in bed, just thinking about the positives of my day, you know, and that's basically a gratitude practice as well. Okay, well, I achieved this today. I did that today. You know, for myself, Chris, and you might be the same. High performers are like this sometimes. We often think about all the shit we didn't do or we haven't achieved. So sometimes taking that gratitude back to, you know, in the evening and thinking about what you did great that day, what you have to be grateful for, can really have a positive impact as well, and probably allow you to sleep better. I'm sure there's studies around that can prove that. But yeah, throughout the day, you can do it. You don't just have to think about it either. You can verbally talk about it. You could be sitting in front of the mirror, brushing your teeth at night, you know, and then speaking your gratitudes to your mirror, or we're going to talk about it too, journaling. You know, when you do your journal practice daily, just journal, just quickly write down a few things that you're grateful for. Sometimes putting it down on paper or writing it down can help you more strongly than just thinking about it too.
Awesome stuff, Leigh. It's Bridget Connery here from Adelaide. The other thing that I like to do is I write my, you know, things that I'm grateful for, or my affirmations on like a card, and I'll keep it, you know, in my pocket, or I'll keep it somewhere that I'm constantly sort of, like I know it's there. So it brings me back, like if I'm having a negative thought or something, it brings me back to going, oh, okay, yep, I'll be positive for this, or thinking about that and sort of manifesting where I want to be and what I want to do. So yeah, just an addition to what you said, which is great.
Great little memo. I heard someone had it the other day. You can buy them for the shower. I don't have one, but where you can write on your shower wall, you know.
Yeah.
You could write your gratitudes down, and hopefully everyone has a shower once a day or twice a day.
Good. Yeah, that's a good tip.
Well, we'll move on to the next one. And this is, I'm not going to go into this one too deep because a lot of people would know that exercise is important for your mental and physical wealth and health and well-being. And it is one that for years I didn't do, and then I got into, and this was probably the first practice I started for my morning routine. And that was just doing some exercise in the morning. And again, it doesn't have to be, you know, doing something like you watch the media, or, you know, all these athletes doing these crazy performances. It doesn't have to be like that. It has to be based on what's good for you at the moment. And that could be a 10-minute body weight exercise. It could be a 30-minute yoga session. This morning I went for a bit over 2K swim. So it can really be anything. And the science shows that by exercising, not only are you more positive, more healthy, and reduce your risk of, you know, cardiovascular disease and all the other diseases that come with it, it'll actually just increase your blood flow. And that blood flow goes everywhere, right? All your organs, your brain, and gets everything stimulated. And I can tell you now, the pool where I swim over the road here has been closed for 3 weeks, and I finally got in there this morning because it just opened again. Me swimming there for 30 to 40 minutes, the amount of clarity I get when I'm doing that is just phenomenal. Like the thoughts had about my day. I do my affirmations while I'm swimming as well. Just so much clarity, and that sets the tone and intention for the rest of your day. And it is life-changing. I actually think if you can do 10 to 30 minutes every morning of some sort of physical activity that gets the blood flowing, wakes you up, you will be better off for it.
Excellent.
I know a lot of you guys here are on the exercise routine. Any questions?
And some not as much as what I should be.
Rob, I always see your posts. Come on.
Yeah. But
I just think it's a great thing to do in the morning. Like I used to find that, you know, plan for something in the afternoon, and then you'd get through and you'd have a rough day and you go, oh, screw it. You know, I'd rather just go home, have a beer and chat with the wife and unwind or whatever.
I'll just hit the Krispy Kremes because I didn't exercise this morning anyway.
Yeah. So, and I do it both. I think it's a great thing to do both in the morning and the evening.
Yeah.
So I'll try and do at least half an hour in the morning and at least half an hour at the end of the day, because the end of the day just clears the mind again and allows me to reset for the evening. Unwind a bit, I guess, when you do weights or something like that, you can sort of just let out a bit of stuff. So yeah, it's a good thing to do twice a day. But again, in the morning, I think that's where I recommend you start. And then once you feel the effects and the positive effects it has on your life, you could almost incorporate that into the end of your day as well.
Yep, great.
Consistently. Next one, meditation. This is a bit more commonplace now, right? And there's a lot of research around meditation, and there's research that it actually can rewire your brain, changes the neurology in your brain, and has amazing powers as far as your ability to have greater attention and focus, greater emotional balance, and you'll have greater self-awareness too. And that can lead to, you know, improved cognitive and emotional functioning as well. Now, meditation sounds a little bit hippie and woo-woo and all that sort of stuff. And certainly when I came across it, again, going back 10 years ago now, I didn't know what to make of it. And I didn't really understand it anyway. I just sort of said, sit there. And I do a couple of different styles now, but I do one, which is most common, mindfulness activity. And that's where you sit there and you breathe and you focus on a breath, or you focus on counting, or you can focus on the oxygen running through your body from foot to head and reverse. And you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for 2 minutes. You could do it for half an hour. But importantly, I think you just do it. And if you can do it daily, each morning, I typically will do it after exercise. So I'll do my exercise. And then this morning, I just came out and sat in the backyard here for 15, 20 minutes and tried the meditation part. Now, it's very hard to clear thoughts and not think of stuff. But if you can do it and you can put this practice into play, it's probably one of the ones that will take the longest to feel the positive benefits in my experience. Exercise, you can start to feel, you know, because you can feel the pain, I guess. Whereas meditation, the rewiring does take some time. But I will safely say I'm a much calmer, believe it or not, calmer person nowadays for this practice. I'm much more self-aware. And yeah, I think it's one that I would never change. And I would love to do it even more. They often say that, you know, if you say you don't have time for meditation, that means you need to do this practice, because often people go, oh, I can't sit there for 10 minutes not thinking about anything, or trying not to think about anything. But it'll pay off in dividends. And again, this links back to that self-awareness. You know, if throughout your day you're feeling a little bit negative in your head, you're making some calls or doing some door knocks and not feeling the love from your job, this meditation practice will bring this awareness to you. So you'll pick up on those moments and you'll be going, hang on a sec, what am I doing? What am I thinking about? You might slap yourself across the face, or might have to go for a walk and, you know, just take some time out to reassess and recharge and refocus. Because I think often in the day, what happens is we get down on ourselves through real estate and feel like we're not, you know, performing or achieving what we want to achieve. And then we sort of just give up. But a higher level of self-awareness, when you get that one guy that you ring and he says, F off, you go, okay, cool, no worries, move on, do the next one. And those moments,
just when that happens, just F off.
those little moments, you know, really, you'll notice them more and more in your life. And that's, I believe, the power of a meditation practice. Yeah.
I think what you just said there, you mentioned something there that I hear quite a bit. I don't have time to do that. And yet the same person will doom scroll for 45 minutes on social media. They will watch a series on Netflix. They will get sucked into a vortex of YouTube research or whatnot, but they don't have time for themselves. Just my only thing on that is just be courageous and make yourself a priority.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the average person in Australia, you know, spends a couple of hours a day on social media, and then spends about the same time on average on TV, or, you know, watching the tube. That's a lot of time in your life, right? Dedicated to something that's probably not going to give you anything.
You're talking about. You could do it about 6 times in that, you know, your exercise, your gratitude, your meditation, all that can be done in that amount of time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lengthy practice. It might sound like that because I'm dribbling on, but it really can be a 20-minute to an hour routine. Mine sometimes probably goes for an hour and a half in total, or 2 hours even, whatever. But if you're speaking to anyone, like I am one of those people that think I don't have any time because I'm always busy with my work. It's the most important thing I need to do in my day. And so, this morning I got up at 5:15 to do this, and I was in the office at 8 o'clock, and that's realistically how long it took.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing to do. Motivation is the next one that I want to talk about. I love this stuff, motivation. And if you don't follow me on Facebook, because I do a lot of it there. And I listen to a lot of it. So you can get motivation any which way, but something that is just positive, something that's uplifting, something that leaves you feeling, inspired for the day. I think if you can start that off, your day off with a bit of motivation, you'll feel better about it. Most people, what do? They get up, they turn on the TV, Channel 7 News on, eat their breakfast, get the negative shit in their head, go to work, more negative stuff. What a terrible way to live, right? Many, many years ago, I switched off the TV for that reason because I was one of those guys. And I got onto podcasts and found ones that resonated with me and listened to those. And they were motivational, inspiring podcasts to get you charged, to get you excited for the day. Now, there's probably other avenues where you can do this, and it doesn't have to just be a podcast. It could be some YouTube video about someone talking about something inspirational. It could be a book, sitting down and reading a book. I'm into Stoicism, so this morning I sat down in the sun with my cup of tea and read, it's like 2 pages of a bit of Stoic philosophy. That sort of stuff inspires me. So I think it's really important to find some motivation in your morning. And again, it can be a hit of 5 minutes, just someone, giving you a bit of a boost for 5 minutes. That's a good thing to do. So that's the M of the maps in Gem Maps. I'm conscious of time there, Rob, so I'm speeding through it.
Yeah, that's good.
Any questions?
No, I think the motivation is so important. I remember Zig Ziglar used to say, motivation, people say it's overrated because you have to do it all the time. You have to be involved with it, engage with it all the time. And he said, you do the same with taking a bath or a shower. Like it's you just got to do it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and again, it can be like there's so many different ones out there. You can get apps now that are just like what is it, daily motivation, and like literally in a minute you can have this little motivational message come through to you, and that'll just help trigger something, help make your day that little bit better. And you're right, Rob, like all these things are practices that you need to do daily, and they are important, and they will help change your life.
What I love about that, because they're easy to do, they're easy not to do, but they're easy to restart. So if you do come off the rails, you come off the track, it's, go, right, all right, let's get ourselves organized again. Let's get back going down the track.
Absolutely. I find myself, and this is something I'm really working hard on at the moment, but weekends is where I fall off rail, because different things happen, your routine changes, and so you may not be able to stick to this as well on a Saturday, Sunday morning. So that's where I'm really focusing on, but you can get back on track pretty quickly. And I've gone through stages where, I threw meditation out the door because I'm just like, I don't know if this is even working. So I stopped doing it. Then I got back to it. Same with journaling, which is I'm sort of going to move on to next is affirmations. So the A of the maps is affirmations. And really this is just positive self-talk, right? It's about putting in good information about yourself, your goals, where you're heading. You can also include this in your gratitudes. Any thoughts that you have to really just strengthen your self-belief, I think is really important. And it's not about feeding yourself bullshit, because they actually can say people with low self-esteem, if you then suddenly have these affirmations that are high level, high achieving stuff that just don't make sense or are impossible, can actually make that low self-esteem even worse. So it's about setting realistic, measurable goals for yourself, and setting realistic expectations for yourselves as well. And then
can you
just
give us an example
of
an affirmation you use, Leigh?
Yeah, so I would. I've got a whole.
I'm sure you have lots of them, but just
I would say I'm a highly successful real estate agent. I'm the #1 selling agent in my area. I list and sell more properties than any other agent in my area. I'm the #1 selling agent in Palmwoods and Woombye. I will list and sell 4 properties every single month. I will earn $50,000 or more in GCI every single month. So that's just a snapshot of part of my affirmation. And I'll repeat that in the morning while I'm in the pool. And I don't always write that down in my journaling. Affirmations for me, well, this is really about, you know, that practice of journaling. But I think you need to start there until it sort of sinks in.
So you're hardwiring your reticular activating system by doing that to move you in that direction subconsciously, to take the actions required to hit those, to become.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so what you believe is what you usually move towards and what you attract as well. And that might sound very woo-woo to a lot of people, but it's so true. What you focus on is generally what shows up, right? So if you focus on the negative, you're going to get more of that. If you focus on the positives, like, hey, I'm going to go out there and get a listing today. Not like, oh, I went out there yesterday and got rejected 3 times. I'll probably get that again. It's okay to have this this negative gratitude, like, you know, thinking about the worst case. That's not a problem necessarily. But it's also important to have that positive belief in where you want to go, because you will attract that into your life. And I'm a big believer of that. Waking up with good intention in the morning as a real estate agent will definitely trigger off greater success in your day.
Love it.
Bloody cobwebs everywhere out here.
We can't see them, so it's good.
Huh.
We can just see you being charismatic, waving your hands around.
Well, I do that, yeah. But journaling, guys, I think it's a really important one. It doesn't take long. Again, 5-10 minutes, just writing down some thoughts. I've been talking about values, and I did this self session last Friday night. I spent 2 hours there in the evening, just going through my values again. And so today I just went back over, well, last night I went back over them, and today I just wrote about them again. So it's just reinforcing that belief in your values and why they're important to yourself. And again, if you're struggling to figure out what to write, you can write about freaking anything. Yeah. But there are plenty of apps and websites and things out there that you can actually jump onto, and they will guide you on what to write, and that'll start that practice off. But I think doing it, you know, again, like a practice every day will certainly help. And it helped. And you can do this at night too. I think it's a great thing, which I'm, again, not as consistent with, but doing it at night, just to write down, oh, what did you achieve today? What were the positives of the day? What are you grateful for today? You know, where you're looking to go tomorrow. Those sort of things will really clear your head and allow you to sleep better. And I have seen those effects myself. And I don't always sleep that well, so it is good to do.
So you got your affirmations and your journaling in the A of the maps.
Yeah, yeah. And then the last one is planning. So spending a bit of time to plan. What do they say? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And I think you can do this. Well, I would do it in the morning. That's when I typically do it. I'm trying to get it into an evening practice as well. Because I feel I'm one of those guys that will wake up at 3 in the morning and think about all the stuff I've got on the next day, or what have I missed, and it'll even form part of my REM sleep when I'll have those dreams about work. So doing that planning at night as well is really important. But certainly sitting down in the morning, now that you've gone through the process, you've got the blood flowing, you got some clarity, you got some good intention, looking over your goals, looking over your values, and then planning your day. Okay, what do I need to do today to make sure I'm moving towards what I value and what my goals are? And what can I maybe not do today to avoid going in that direction? And just putting down a little bit of a plan on a map. I just get an A4 bit of paper that's scrap paper, and I'll just write down my day and what it looks like. And I'll look at my schedule, my calendar. And that's how I really come up with a plan. And then I look at it and go, okay, well, those things are probably the most important. I'm going to focus on them. And I have to let myself go, because I'm one of those people that can't seem to let myself go. But, you know, if I get to the end of the day and the list's not done, that's okay. As long as I focused on the 1, 2, or 3 most important activities as far as where I'm heading in life, my goals, and what's important to me value-wise as well, which I'm just really starting to drive into now as well. So really important planning. And just to sort of wrap it up here, start is the next step. You've got to start. I think a lot of people in life, we make this mistake of looking extrinsically for our values and our goals rather than intrinsically, so internally. You really need to be very connected with where you want to be in life, you know, what that should look like in life. And I think the more you can connect from an internal place, the more that'll help you, you know, guide your life. This morning routine is just a part of really tapping into that more deeply. And again, it's a journey. Like, for me, it's been 10 years and I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
Yeah. But what I love about what you've shared today, Leigh, is the fact that it's real. It's something that's actionable, and it's something that people watching live or on the replay can, as you say, get pen and paper and just kind of map it out. You know, what I can do gratitude. Yes, I can exercise. I can do the meditation. I can, you know, whatever all the little bits and pieces are. And I know my most productive times in real estate have been when I have followed a sequence very, very similar to what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it works. And
Very-
again, keep it simple to start with. I think everyone wants to overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be complicated. This can be a half-an-hour routine where you can just say a few nice gratitudes in the morning before you get out of bed, 2 feet on the floor, say my gratitudes, 10 minutes of exercise, 10 minutes of meditation. And then really the next few bits can be done within, you know, 10, 20 minutes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Leigh Martinuzzi, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share with us what's making you tick. And guys, as I'm always saying, success leaves clues. So Leigh has shared some of his success. If you're not hitting some of those same targets that Leigh's going for and you want to, maybe take a leaf out of his book and put this into practice for you. Thanks everybody for joining us on This iConversations, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Leigh.